So welcome back to our Vinyasa yoga class. We're going to start today in child's pose. So come down to your mat. Let's have your knees about hip width apart. Your toes can be touching. Bring your bum back to your heels and then just relax your upper body down towards the mat, arms out in front of you. Scan your body, see how it feels. Really let gravity pull your hips down towards the mat. A really gentle opening there. And start to notice your breath. Start to make your inhales longer and your exhales longer. If you've got Ujjayi breathing in your practice, that audible breath, you can start to bring it in now. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Maybe grip the mat with your fingertips, creating some tension in your arms and your upper back. Lifting the elbows off the mat. Just really gently waking up those back muscles. Maybe pushing back away from you a little bit, bringing your hips a little bit deeper towards your toes. If you'd like to set an intention for today's practice, or just send some good love and vibes to anybody in your life, feel free to channel that person or that intention now. And then on your next inhale, let's just raise up to all fours, knees directly under our hips, wrists directly under our shoulders. We're going to warm up our spine with some cat-cows. So on your inhale, drop your belly, raise your tailbone and the crown of your head to the sky. On your exhale, reverse that. Tuck your belly in and arch your back towards the sky. Really stretching out the tops of your shoulders and your neck here. On your inhale, drop your belly, tailbone to the sky. On your exhale, rounding your back. Let's do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And coming back to your neutral spine, let's do a few wrist stretches to warm up that part. So just start shifting your weight forward and backwards, bringing your weight forward over your wrists and then back again. Be gentle on any wrist warm-ups that we're doing, because we're using computers a lot, using our phones a lot. Coming back to neutral, turning your hands outwards until your fingertips are pointing all the way back towards your body. And then from here, just start to tilt your body back away from your wrists, and you'll start to feel a really nice stretch across those tops of your forearms on the underside. Breathe into whatever you're feeling. And then letting that go. And now flipping your hands over so that the backs of your hands are on the mat. You might want to bring your hands closer to your body for this, to not have so much weight going onto the backs of your hands. This is like a vulnerable position for your wrists. And slide your body back again, and you'll really feel a stretch across the top parts of your hands around the wrist. And then one at a time, try to create a fist with your hands. So first bringing your right fingertips in towards one another, and then your left fingertips in. Right, left. You might not be able to form a full fist, but you'll definitely be feeling the sensation of your wrist stretching in a way that we don't usually. Great. Gently bringing your weight back so that you can let that go and coming over back onto your hands. Just roll around a little bit in all directions, letting that go. You might want to shake your hands out. Great. Now grip the mat with your fingertips. So really gripping with all fingertips, almost creating a suction cup with the palms of your hands. Tuck your toes under, and we're going to push back into our first downward facing dog. You can paddle your legs out here. Really creating a long spine, sending your tailbone to the sky, but also taking a moment to take whatever movements you need here to really start to open up the backs of your head, the backs of your legs and your back. Looking forward, come back to a plank position. So really tucking your tailbone under, wrist directly under your shoulders. We're going to start by we're going to go straight into a little core warm up here. So on your inhale, bring your right knee to the back of your right elbow. Exhale back. Bring it to center. Right knee to center. Exhale back. Bring it to your left elbow. Exhale back. Drop that foot. Same thing on the left side. Bring your left knee to your left elbow. Back to the center. Back to the right elbow. Twisting back. One more time each side. Excuse me. Right knee to right elbow, hover it back to the center, hover it back, twist over to the left, hover it back. Left side to the left elbow, back, center, back, right, back. Excellent. Push back into that downward facing dog. Should have felt your core start to engage a little bit there, which is a great way to get us ready for the warm-ups that we're going to do. Looking forward, walk your feet towards your hands. Keep your feet hip-width apart, and let's slide our hands underneath our feet till your toes are coming to your wrist crease. You can give your wrist a little bit of a massage using your toes. Your knees can be bent here. And then just use the pull of your hands underneath your feet to bring your body closer to your legs. And bring the crown of your head closer to the mat. Gentle hamstring stretch here. Don't make it too intense, but do try and shift your weight forward into your toes. And you'll feel a little bit of an extra stretch there. Breathing. Removing your hands from underneath your feet, and then let's just slowly roll up our spine, one by one, until we get our head to come up last and a nice shoulder roll at the top. Let's come to standing into mountain pose. So you're going to have all four corners of your feet pressing into the mat. Your toes spread out and then pressed back down. Big toes together. The heels can be together or slightly apart. Tailbone tucked under. Spine long. Crown of the head to the ceiling. Shoulder blades down. This is our mountain pose. A very engaged pose. We're going to warm up with a few flows. We're going to do it, the first one slowly, and then we're going to repeat 3 more times with a bit more pace. So let's do the first one together. So inhale, bring your arms to the sky. On your exhale, you can bring your hands in prayer, hinge from your hips. into a forward fold. You can keep your knees bent here if you need to. On your inhale, come into a halfway lift, your spine parallel to the mat. On your exhale, plant your hands, step back into your plank position. We can drop our knees for this first one. With control, lower our upper body down to the mat. Inhale into a cobra to start with. And then exhale, tuck your toes under and push back into our downward facing dog. On your inhale, bring your right foot forward, drop your left heel to the mat, and we're gonna rise up into our warrior one. On our exhale, we're gonna open out to our warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, and exhale, we're gonna lower all the way back down through that chaturanga, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then we're gonna do the left hand side. So inhale, left foot forward, plant your right heel down, open up into warrior one. Exhale, open out to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, windmill your hands down, step back, lower down through your chaturanga. Your knees could be down here. Inhale to your cobra, your upward facing dog. Exhale to your downward facing dog. And take a few breaths here. Maybe sigh it out. One more. Inhale. In your downward dog, make sure that you're really gripping the mat with your fingertips. You're pushing away, shoulders away from your ears, tailbone tilted to the sky, heels pushing down towards the mat. Your neck is loose. You can shake your head yes and no. On your next inhale, looking forward, walking your feet to the front of the mat, inhaling to your halfway lift, exhale, forward fold, inhaling back up to standing. So that's going to be our warm-up flow. There's quite a few chaturangas in there, so we should get nice and warm by the end of it. Let's do two more, and then we'll see if we feel like doing a third. I'm going to do it with my breath and count you that way, but if you need to slow it down or speed it up, you're welcome to do it in your own breath. You'll catch us up in the downward facing dogs. So inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, up through warrior one. Exhale, open out to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, windmill your arms down, lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one. Exhale, open out to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, windmill your arms down. Press down through your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here. This active pose is now turning into your resting pose. But if you need a child's pose in between any of our sequences, you can always take that. On our next inhale, looking forward, bending your knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way back up to standing. Let's do it again. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward into warrior one. Exhale, open out, warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Exhale, windmill your hands all the way down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, windmill your arms down, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. On your next inhale, looking forward, bending your knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, coming back up to standing. So I'm feeling a bit warm now, so I think we can move forward into our next flow. We're going to enter this through our chair pose. So on your inhale, bend your knees, drop your bum back, sweep your arms up overhead into your chair pose. Gaze slightly upwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, jump back down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your inhale, bring your right foot forward between your hands and just come into a high lunge. You can keep your hands down by the mat and really focus on just lengthening your spine, crown of your head pushing forward. Breathe into this, really engaged back leg pushing away from you. Plant your left hand to the mat, raise your right hand up to the ceiling in an open twist. Gaze up to the ceiling, really strong fingertips on that right hand, back leg strong. Looking back down, planting your left foot down on the mat, and then windmilling up into your warrior two, but then straightening that front leg. Imagining someone's pulling you towards the front of the mat, moving into our Trikonasana. So really pulling as far forward as you can, and then windmilling your right arm down and your left arm up towards the ceiling. Breathing here. Make sure that your pelvis is tucked under. Your legs are engaged. Outward rotation of the thighs. Really using that stable triangular base to give you lift. And you're lifting out of your spine up towards the ceiling. From here, look down. Bend your right knee slightly so that we can go to shift our weight into our right foot, bringing our right hand down in front of our right foot and opening out into half moon. Whoops. If you fall out, don't worry. Just get right back into it. Think about turning your left foot up towards the ceiling. That will help you create the opening in your hip that you're looking for. And if you can, gaze up towards the ceiling. Breathing here. Really pushing away with that grounded leg. Looking back down to the front of your mat. Planting your hands or being on your fingertips, either is fine. We're going to come into a standing split. So really raising that left leg up into the sky, engaging your standing right leg, really pushing away. Your legs are really pushing away from one another. And then to test your balance, you can bring your right hand to your calf, maybe your left hand to your calf. Your gaze is right around your toes. If you'd like to try doing some handstand hops here, you're welcome to. So to do that, bring your hands just a little bit further forward than your right foot. Really grip the mat with your fingertips. Rounding your upper back is going to help give you stability here. Come to the toes of your right foot, and you're going to use a bounce off of that right foot to help you get some height. So let's do 5 handstand hops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Amazing. From there, you can just step back into your plank position. Lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Let's take a couple of breaths before we move over to the left side. Okay, on your next inhale, bringing your left foot forward this time between your hands. Keeping yourself up in that lunge position, maybe on your fingertips, really thinking about creating that long spine, pushing the crown of your head to the front of the room. Back leg super engaged. Plant your right hand down to the mat, raising your left arm up overhead and gazing towards the ceiling. Making sure you're keeping that back leg engaged, using the twist in your torso to kind of raise you out and up towards the ceiling. Looking down to the mat, planting your back foot and windmilling yourself up into your warrior 2. Straightening that front leg. Imagining someone's pulling you to the front of the room, and when you can't go any further, windmilling your left arm down, your right arm up. Engage legs, outward rotation of the thighs, gaze up towards the ceiling. Breathing. From here, looking down, and again, bending that left leg, shifting our weight into that left leg, bringing our left hand down and opening out to half moon, Ardha Chandrasana on the left hand side. You can put a block under your left hand here if you need it for a little bit of extra height. Trying to shift your gaze up towards the ceiling. I'm not super balanced today. And then bringing your right hand down to the mat, shifting your hips so that they're more parallel to the mat, and then letting your right leg flow up into our standing split. If you want to challenge your balance by grabbing your left calf with your left hand, maybe both hands, see how you're feeling today. One side might be better than the other. Really pushing away with that top leg. And then if you'd like to do some handstand hops on this side, plant the hands, really gripping the mat with the fingertips, rounding the upper back, shifting your weight forward into your hands and coming up to those left toes. You might find, go ahead and start, you might find that one side floats up easier than the other. Seems to me that this side is my better side. Give yourself 3 to 5 hops, whatever feels good. If you happen to catch some air, you can tuck your leg in, you can try and straighten it out. Hopefully you're against a wall maybe. And then when you're done, just go back into your plank position, lower down chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, exhale, downward facing dog. And we're going to rest here for 3 to 5 breaths. Don't forget about this pose, making it strong, spine long, tailbone to the sky. On your next inhale, looking forward, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale into chair, Utkatasana, and then coming back up to standing. Well done. Let's mix in a balancing series here. So I'm going to face you so that you can see me, but you can continue to face the long side of your mat. We're going to start out with kind of shifting our weight to our left leg, bending our right knee and bringing it up. Now, I'm going to grab my big toe with my second and third finger. That might not be available to everyone. If it's not, you can do all of what we're about to do by just keeping your knee bent. If you can reach down and grab your big toe with your second and third finger, do so. But the idea here is that you're able to still keep your spine really long and straight. From here, kick that right leg out as far as it'll go. Might be slightly bent. Really pushing into the ground with your left leg, spine long. Start to open out that right leg to the right hand side. Maybe straightening it out a little bit further. Gaze slightly upwards. If you're feeling balanced, you can look over to the left hand side. Maybe raise that left arm. Or you can keep it on your hip. From here, look forward. Bring that leg back in. Let it go, but don't let your foot touch the ground yet. Flip your hand so that your palm is facing outwards, and you're going to grab the inside of that right foot. We're moving into dancer's pose. So you're going to grab the inside of that right foot with your right hand. Left arm to the sky. Inhale to lengthen. Now the first thing that you want to do is think about pushing your leg, your foot into your hand. That's what's going to give you the lift that you want and the back bend that we're seeking. And then you can start to think about lowering your front body down slightly. Really pushing, pushing, pushing your foot into your hand. Breathing here. See if you can go a little bit deeper, and then coming back out. Well done. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So shifting your weight into your right foot, bending your left knee. And again, you can do this all with your knee bent. If you can reach your big toe, go for it. Again, reaching, keeping that spine long though, and keeping your foot pointing down towards the mat. Lengthening that left leg out, spine long, breathing here. Keeping your gaze on a fixed point and moving your leg out to the left-hand side. And then if you're feeling balanced, maybe shifting your gaze over to the right. Breathing here. Looking back to center, bringing your leg back to center, letting that knee go, don't let it drop. Flipping your left hand out this time, grabbing the inside of your left foot. Raise your right hand, your right arm up to the ceiling. Inhale to lengthen, and on your exhale, pushing your left foot into your left hand. Really pushing, 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 and only then starting to come forward. The idea is to keep your chest lifted in this pose. You might see a lot of people that are like all the way down here, but that's not the idea. You'd rather be here, really pushing your foot away. Let's go a bit deeper, maybe a bit deeper, and letting that go. Excellent, really well done. From here, breathe in, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back into your plank. We're going to move into a lizard pose. So from here, bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So both of your hands are on the left side of your right foot. You can stay up with your back knee up like this, or you can drop it down to the mat. We're really getting into a nice hip stretch here on the right hand side. So the idea is to keep your right knee tucked in towards your body. Don't let it fall out to the side. Keep it tucked in. If you need to move your right foot further to the right of the mat to give you a bit more space, then do that. You can stay up here. You can go down onto your forearms. You can use a block underneath your forearms. Whatever helps you feel like you're getting a nice deep stretch in that hip area. Stay here for a few breaths. Really, hip openers are so good for us. If you came down to your forearms, raising back up, and then walking your foot in towards the center line of your body, and shifting your hips back so that your hip is directly over that bent knee, and straightening out that front leg, maybe walking it a little bit further and flexing the toes on that front right leg. Breathing here into a hamstring stretch. Now from here, you can keep your spine long, maybe fold down towards that leg. If you have splits in your practice, you could slide that right foot forward, slide your left foot back, keeping your hips like square, trying to lower down into a split position, but trying to keep your chest long. If you're practicing split, you really want to think about pulling your legs in towards one another. You can also put a block underneath your thigh to give you something to rest on, to come up straight, but you don't relax into it. I'm still really pulling my right leg back and my left leg forward, super engaged. One more breath here. And then your hamstrings are in quite a vulnerable position, so be gentle coming out of this. Slowly bringing your right leg back in towards you, or sending your hips in towards your leg in order to let that go. From here, raising onto your back toes, and then just sweeping your right leg up into the sky. Let's open it out. Let your foot fall to the left-hand side, opening out your hip. If you want to come all the way over into a wild thing, feel free to do so. Flipping back over and coming back into your downward facing dog. I want us to try a crow pose here. So just looking forward, just walk your feet forward till you're into a malasana, a deep yogi squat. We're going to try our crow pose. So if you already have it in your practice, feel free to jump up into it. If you're working on it with me, let's do it step by step. So first thing, we're going to do it without any props, like no block. You can use a block under your feet, but let's try without. Grip the mat with your fingertips, that same kind of grip that we've been giving all along. Like there's a suction cup in your palms and your fingertips are really gripping. Come forward on your toes, just shift your weight forward so that you're feeling the weight in your hands. And already start to try to round your back. So you don't want your back flat like this, you want your back rounded. Come up to your toes and take the insides of your knees and press them against the outside of your forearms. This is like the beginner way to start to create that pressure between your arms and your knees. In the future, you may tuck your knees all the way into your elbows, but let's do it this way to start. You really want to keep thinking about pressing your knees into your arms. That will help create stability. Rounding your back, gaze slightly forward, and then just shift your weight forward. And you may start to feel one foot come up, maybe 2 feet come up. Really gripping the mat, really rounding your back. keeping your gaze forward, and then maybe jumping back into your plank position. Go back into our downward facing dog. Raise your right foot into the air, moving into pigeon, bringing your right knee to behind your right wrist. Right toes flexed, walk your left leg back. You're bringing your right hip all the way down to the mat. If you need a block or a blanket underneath it because it's a bit far away, feel free to do so. Make sure your weight isn't falling to the right hand side. You're keeping your weight very centered. Spine long. From here, you can move into a sleeping pigeon. You can stay upright. If you're super flexible and you've got mermaid in your practice, which is that whole thing that I can't do, feel free to do that. And let's just breathe. Bringing our heart rate back down after that crow. Making sure there's no, there'll be a bit of discomfort, but no pain. If your knee's hurting, pull back out of this pose. And you can do like a seated thread the needle. If you've lowered down, starting to walk yourself back up. And just roll over onto your right hip and come to straddle the left side of your mat. Maybe pull the flesh back from your seat. Legs engaged, toes flexed. We're going to do a forward fold here. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And on your exhale, just start to walk your hands forward. You might be up here, that's fine. I'm already feeling a stretch when I'm up here. Or you can just start to walk yourself forward. Your arms can be in front of you. You can grab your big toes if you want to give you a little bit more leverage. But keeping your legs engaged, imagining an outer rotation of your thighs. Your toes are flexed. That engagement in your legs is going to help you get even deeper. If they're relaxed, you won't go as far. But focus on keeping that spine long. Walking yourself up, bringing your knees in, giving them a little bit of a shake, and then pushing back into our downward facing dog. Let's give it a bit of a paddle, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So this time, bringing our left foot to the outside of our left hand, to the very outside edge of the mat, into our lizard. Again, you can keep that back leg up, you can drop the knee, you can go down onto your forearms. Just really focusing on getting that good stretch on the inside of both hips, really. Keeping that left knee tucked in towards your body. Breathing into whatever you're feeling. If you're on your forearms, coming back up, walking your foot towards the center line, and then drawing your hips back so that your hips are directly over that bent knee, walking your left foot forward slightly if you need to, and lengthening out that left leg. Toes flex up to the ceiling, spine long, start to fold over that left leg. Really make sure you're breathing in, giving yourself the support that you need depending on how tight your hamstrings are. If you want to do a split, bringing that left leg forward, that right leg back. Still giving you whatever support that you need and keeping your legs really engaged. Don't just letting your body fall into it. If you're all the way down in the split, still make sure that you're keeping your legs super engaged. Pulling your right leg forward, your left leg back. Breathing here. And then with control, gently bringing that left foot back or your right hip forward to come out of this position. Press your hands down, your back toes up into a high lunge, and sweep your leg up into the sky, into a three-legged dog, opening out to the right-hand side. If you want to flip over to a wild thing, you're welcome. From here, coming back into your downward facing dog, and then again, jumping or stepping your feet forward into your malasana. We're going to try that crow pose again. So let's just get right into it. You've got the cues from the last time. Fingers gripped, upper back rounded, knees into the backs of the arms or the outsides of the arms. Gaze forward, lifting up into your crow pose, really rounding, breathing, holding, and then jumping back or stepping back into your plank position. Pressing back into your downward facing dog again. Left leg into the sky. Bringing that left knee to the back of the left wrist into our pigeon. Walking your right foot back. Getting your left hip down towards the mat. Weight in the center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold down. Or to go into mermaid or whatever variation feels good to you. Really breathing here. You can put a block under your forehead or under your chest to really help you relax into this pose, but you're still keeping your legs engaged, your upper thighs engaged. From here, walking yourself back up, rolling onto your left hip this time and straddling the right side of your mat. I'll still come to face you. Let's do that forward fold again, see if we can get any deeper. So inhale to lengthen, really strengthen those legs, and on your exhale, start to walk yourself forward. Breathing into whatever tension you're feeling. Using your out breath to help you get a little bit deeper. Walking yourself back up. Hugging your knees in. And then just planting your hands and pushing back into your downward facing dog. From here, come forward into your plank, and on the count of 5, so tuck your tailbone under, shoulder blades rounded, really, really strong. On the count of 5, we're going to lower down to our bellies. Elbows tucked in and pointing straight back in a chaturanga style. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your left cheek to the mat and let your arms just relax behind you. Taking a moment here. Bringing your forehead to the mat and bringing your hands so that they're in line with your nipples. We're going to come up into cobra. So planting the tops of your feet, really pressing the tops of your feet against the mat. On your inhale, lift your chest only slightly off the mat. No weight in your fingertips. You could remove your hands and stay as high as you are. Gaze slightly forward, but using the tension in your legs and your lower back to really lift you up. One more breath, and letting that go. Bringing your right cheek to the mat and letting your arms fall out behind you. Breathing here. And bringing your forehead to the mat again. This time we're going to be lifting both our arms and our legs. The locus behind us. So in this movement, again, really focusing on as if someone is pulling your hands and your feet behind you. So on your inhale, lifting both your arms and your legs. Imagine someone's pulling you back, back, back towards the mat. Breathing here. Gaze just slightly forward, keeping your spine long. See if you can raise up a little bit more. Lowering back down. Left cheek to the mat, arms by your side. And now we're going to move into a bow pose. So bending your knees, reaching back behind you and grabbing on the insides of your feet with both hands. If you can't do both at the same time, you can do one at a time. We can do this twice. So if this is like too much for you, so you can grab the insides, you can also grab the outsides if that's a bit more comfortable. You can also just do one at a time. So on your inhale, you're going to really press your feet into your hands like we did for our dancer pose. So ready, on your inhale, press your feet into your hands. If you're doing one side, the same movement. Try to keep your weight balanced between your hips. Breathing in, a little bit more, letting that go. Bringing your right cheek to the mat. Let's do the other side for those of you that only did one side. Otherwise, maybe for those of you that did both legs, try a different hand variation. If you were inside, try outside. So grabbing your feet behind you. On your inhale, pressing your feet into your hands. Try and keep your knees in towards each other. Don't let them flare out too far. Inhale, really press, 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 and letting that go. Right cheek to the mat, and then maybe just give your hips a wiggle. Releasing those back bends. From here, just roll over onto your back. We're going to come up to a seated position. We're going to wrap up with a few forward bends. So, keeping your left leg long, take the sole of your right foot in towards the inside of your left thigh. Position your body towards that left leg. Inhale to lengthen, maybe bringing your arms overhead, and on your exhale, folding forward over that left leg. If you can reach all the way to your toes, maybe grabbing your left wrist with your right fingers, really pulling on the back of the ball of your foot. If you're higher and you need your knees bent, focus on keeping your spine long, your toes flexed, and you'll still be feeling a really good stretch here. Wherever you are, taking one more breath. Inhale, exhale, get a little bit deeper, and then walking your way back up. Take that right knee, and then take the right foot and place it on the outside of your left knee. We're going to move into a twist. Inhale to lengthen. Take your right hand behind you, left arm to the sky, and then bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And twist, looking over to the right hand side. Keeping your toes flexed. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to twist. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Letting that go with a little bend on the other side. Lengthening out your left leg, bringing your right knee or right foot in towards your, lengthening out your right leg, bringing your left foot into the inside of your right thigh. Inhale to lengthen over that right leg, and on your exhale, folding forward. Grabbing behind the ball of your foot, really flexing your toes. If you're super flexible, legs straight, you want to think about being so flexed that you can slide a piece of paper underneath the heel of that right leg. Using your exhales to go even deeper. Walking yourself back up. Taking your left foot to the outside of your right knee. Inhale to lengthen, left hand behind you, right arm to the sky. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And twisting, using your inhales to lengthen, your exhales to twist even deeper. Toes flexed, spine long. And letting that go with a slight bend on the other side. Amazing. Let's do one final forward fold with both legs. So both legs straight, pull the fleshy parts back so that your seat is close to the ground. Spine long, inhale to lengthen. You can again bring your arms up, your knees can be bent, and on your exhale, fold forward. Really reaching forward rather than thinking about just coming down. Reaching forward, keeping your spine long. Not concerned about your forehead coming to your knees. We're more about your spine staying long and you reaching the crown of your head towards the front of the room. Breathing into this. And letting that go. So we're going to come to our final poses, an inversion of your choice. So you can pop up into shoulder stands. You can just have your feet up as if you're standing on the ceiling, maybe your arms just hanging above you in a dead bug. Or if you have a headstand in your practice and you'd like to take that, you're welcome to now. I'm just going to pop up into a shoulder stand. So using a bit of momentum, raising your legs up behind you, planting your hands on your lower back, and then really pushing your toes into the ceiling. Don't look around in this pose. Your neck is quite vulnerable. So if you need to check what I'm doing, check and then jump into it. Really pushing away, draining the blood flow back down towards your heart. Inversions are super energizing. From here, I'm too close to the wall, but you can lower your legs down behind you. And then if your toes are touching the floor, you can bring your arms long along your mat. If your feet aren't touching the floor, keep your hands on your lower back to give you support. Bending your knees to your forehead, give a little forehead massage. And then with control, lowering back down your spine, using your hands as a brake. So you come into lying on your back. And tuck your forearms underneath your lower back and then prop yourself up into a fish. Just one final pose. And then releasing your hands, letting them just fall out beside you, letting your legs just also fall out to the edges of your mat, palms facing upward. And we're going to take Savasana, the best part. Really embrace whatever you feel in your body now. You should feel a bit looser, a bit more energized. Come back to that intention or that individual that you thought of at the beginning of practice. Honor that intention. And then let it all go. Let your breathing go. And just relax here. You can stay here as long as you like. I'm actually going to say my goodbyes now, so that if you'd like to stay in Savasana longer, you can. Thank you for joining me in our practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.